Hello friends, hello kids, how are you all? Welcome to my channel RR Kids. So today I have come with a new book. It's a phonic reader, Oxford Reading Tree, book level 5. This level 5 packet has the gale, please do not sneeze, the mixing crystal, rowing boats, Mr. Scroop's school, the haunted house. So these are the books, and today we have Mr. Scroop's school. As we have come across a lot of bunch of books from Roderick Hunt and Alex Pritchard is the writer and the illustrator. Before going through this book, let me just tell you what this book is all about. Mr. Scroop's school. The children find out what life was really like in Victorian times. So what do you understand by the Victorian times? The old times, the old days? Yes, you're correct. So this book specifically says about the old times, or we say that it's not ancient, means like it was few years back when the Victorian people were there, means there that time how the school looks like, or what were the things, how were the children. We'll talk about this in this book. So let's see what is there in this book. Written by Roderick Hunt and Annie Young, illustrated by Alex Pritchard, and phonics consultant by Debbie Hebblewhite. Before reading, we should go and talk about all this, what is mentioned. So I am going to quickly read you this book. So this I am capturing so that for your reference you may go through it later on. Here the book has stressed more on the sound as OO, which makes long O sound, oo, and U as a sound as a better the anina, and double O makes sound as school, rule, blue, screw, suit, and U. This is oo sound. I'll give you a link, provide you a link where you can go through the phonics also and the group of phonics words. There it will be easy for you to understand. Now what do you see in this picture? It looks like a school itself, right? There are children looking at some painting on the wall or something a teacher is showing. See, the illustration is done so beautiful. The picture, the depictions is like it's beautifully done. Let's see what's written. The children were doing a project with Mrs. May about life in Victorian times. So the children were doing a project, and the project was related about Victorian times. How the life was during Victorian times, during old time, how the life was. Like we hear from our grandparents many times. So if you see the pictures, it's written the Victorians. If you see, look at the pictures, it looks very old, ancient type of pictures. Not exactly ancient, it would be a very wrong word to use, ancient, but I'll say the pictures look very old. How the kids were looking during the school boys, the school children, and the teacher is describing them with some examples, with some pictures, with some posters. How the life was during Victorian time. Life was hard for lots of children, said Mrs. May. Mrs. May has said life was not that easy. It was hard for lots of children during those times. Old time, few years back, it was not very easy for any kids or any children. Why? How? Let's find it out. Most children didn't have new shoes or go to school, she said. Most of the children those time were not wearing a new shoes to go to any school. They were not only looking for some new bags, new clothes, new shoes to go to school. Whatever they have, they used to take that and be happy with that much, and they need to go to school. Earlier times there were very less schools. I'll say rarely you will find schools. So it was very important for the children to go and gather some knowledge and information wherever they can gather. If they got any school, they didn't bother to wear new clothes, new shoes, or anything like that. But wherever they will get the knowledge, they were looking forward to go and preach it. If you see, Mrs. May is showing a picture or referring to a picture in the book. Let's see, let's find it out. What is she saying or what is she showing? School was different too, said Mrs. May. The teachers were very strict. Those times, Mrs. May said, the schools were different and the teachers were also very strict. Nowadays, the teachers are not that strict. They are very friendly. But earlier days, those times, the teachers were not that friendly. Very rarely you will find any teacher who will be very friendly with any kids or children. They used to make some space and distance in between them from the children. And the children also used to have that bond. Means teacher and children, teacher and children, child's means that bonding in between them. It's like he or she is my teacher, so I need to be very attentive, and if somebody is giving some information, then we should be very much grounded. We should treat her the way she should be treated. It's like we will not make any noise. We will listen to what he or she is teaching to us, because that, if she is not going to teach it to us, then who is going to tell us? So the kids were also very understanding those times, as they were not getting any support from internet or from it's like earlier times their mothers were not able to help them much into the books, into reading. So the kids were also very attentive and they were very eager to learn about the facts, whatever the teacher is going to teach them. Is it true that the teacher could frighten the children with a ruler? Asked Biff. Now Biff is asking, is it true that we have heard that those times the teachers were using this ruler? It's kind of, you can say the ruler is made up of a wooden piece. It's a long one. That they frighten, they scared the children with that ruler. If somebody is making some nuisance, they can hit or they can scare. Then what Biff has asked this to Mrs. May. Then what Mrs. May has to say? Let's find it out. Yes, it's true, said Mrs. May. She said yes, it was true, because if they will not understand, then the teachers had very less patience. They were very strict. They frightened most of the time, but at times the children get hittings or beatings from that ruler as well. So it was true. But nowadays, if you see, the teachers are not going to hit. The teachers are very sweet and they are very understanding and they are friends of the children. Now, the teacher and the children has a very special bond. There's a friendship bond, and the bonding is so sweet and strong that they both help each other to understand the things and even have a better information and go ahead with that topic. Like kids are also now surf something on internet and they ask their doubt, they ask their concern to the teacher, and hence the teacher also doesn't hesitate or ignores the question, but they also narrate and explain it to them back. We are going to Duke History Park tomorrow, said Mrs. May. So Mrs. May has said, we are going to the Duke History Park tomorrow. So they are going to see how it's all about the Victorian children, it's history park we are going to learn and see what is happening there. We will see what it was like in Victorian schools, she said. Yes, she said that after reaching there, we will learn how it looks like Victorian schools. We'll read about it. and they have collected some menu, or I can say some brochure through which the kids were able to read that there were no computers. They were discussing there were no computers. They were shocked to learn that there were no computers then. The next day, they went to Duke History Park. The children put on costumes. They waited outside the school in a queue. So, the next day, they went to Duke History Park. The children put on costumes. They waited outside the school in a queue. They went to the Duke History Park with some costume. Not necessarily, but they tried to make themselves look like some Victorian school children. So they have put some costume like that because teacher Mrs. May has shown them enough of pictures so that they, from their imagination, they could dress themselves and look little bit alike the Victorian school children. And they were standing in the queue to get inside. Now what is going to happen? Let's see. This is Mr. Andrew, said Mrs. May. He will act the part of Mr. Scroop. Mr. Scroop will be your teacher today. So he is Mr. Andrew who will act as the part of Mr. Scroop. He will replace Mr. Scroop and will teach you today about the Duke History Children School. So what is it teaching? You can see there are some school rules. It's written school rules to be followed. He is teaching with the stick. He is having the black gown or apron on top of his coat. Mr. Scroop had a suit and gown on. These are the rules, he said. No excuses. Now Mr. Scroop is teaching and saying these are some rules you must learn and there shouldn't be any excuses. You are not going to find out any excuses. You need to follow the rules by any cost. You will not break the rules. Now we will sing the school song. Now Mr. Scroop said, we will sing the school song. Do you also sing the school song in the school? Yes, we all do, right? So Mr. Scroop has to say that we will first sing the school song. What is the tune? Asked Biff. Use the music, said Mr. Scroop. What is the tune? Asked Biff. Use the music, said Mr. Scroop. When Biff has asked what is the tune, while singing which tune should we use, then Mr. Scroop said, use the music to learn the tune. Will you show us how? Asked Anina. Now Anina is asking, will you show us how? Then Mr. Scroop shouted, be quiet. If I am saying you something, be quiet. Don't just bundle me with a lot of questions. What is 8 times 3 plus 2? So what do you understand? Mr. Scroop is asking. You in blue. Mr. Scroop is asking to the one boy who is wearing blue colored shirt, dress. You in blue. Tell me. What is 8 times 3 plus 2? That means what is 8 into 3 plus 2? So what's your answer? Let me know. What is 8 into 3? Then that you add to 2 and you get the answer. I'm confused, said Mr. Chip. So seems he is Chip. Now Chip has to answer it. But he couldn't. He said, I'm confused, said Chip. Then Mr. Scroop said angrily, "Use your head." That we say Mr. Scroop has yelled. Use your head. What is the answer? Don't tell me I'm confused. What is 3 into 8 or 8 into 3 plus 2? 8 into 3 is 24 plus 2 is 26. Mr. Scroop is a brute. Now this was said and this understood that he is a brute. He's not listening to the children and he is very, very strict. So the children didn't like Mr. Scroop much, we could see. But what is here? Seems like they're having hopscotch, they're playing hula hoop. They're having a lot of fun. It seems to be a playground. Let's find it out. It was playtime. Mrs. May showed them how to play with hoops. This is fun. This is better. Now, I could see that Mrs. Scroop is also in a cheerful mood and is opening his his gown. Mr. Scroop told them the rules of hopscotch. Now, Mr. Scroop is saying about the rules in hopscotch game. So, the kids, who all enjoy to play hopscotch? You all? Even we also liked it in our time. And even my child also loves to play hopscotch. It's very interesting. It's very fun when you have a lot of friends. Chip threw a ball and it hit a boy called Matthew. Now Chip threw a ball while playing and it Matthew, another boy who got hurt. Chip was throwing a ball when they were playing this and accidentally Matthew got hurt and I could see the specks is falling out from his eyes from what he was wearing. Then what happened? A few of children ran to help Matthew. The ball flew out of my hands, said Chip. Now, Chip said, by mistakenly, the ball flew out of my hand and you got hurt, Matthew. I'm sorry. So the kids ran to help Matthew. And even Chip apologized, like accidentally, it just flew out of my hand and you got hurt, my friend. So it happens. Both of them were very nice. Always show a helping hand to your friend who is in trouble. But yes, seek for elders' permission as well. Look over there, called Wilf, pointing. Now he's Wilf. Wilf is pointing and showing something to Mr. Scroop. He said, look over there. Look over there, called Will, pointing. Don't be so rude, boy, said Mr. Scroop. Now, when he said look over there, Mr. Scroop has to say him that don't be so rude. Why you're saying me to look over there? But what was the rude thing in that? He should have seen. What he found is, but look, said Wilf. Wilf again shouted and said, but look, that goat is chewing your gown. Oh my, see? He wants to protect. She said, but look, that goat is chewing your gown. Now look at the expression. Oh no! See, now the child is trying to help him out, but Mr. Scroop ignored him. That's not good. Mr. Scroop ran to rescue his gown. Then, after seeing that, Mr. Scroop ran to save his gown from the goat. He took the goat back to the field next door. Then, doing that, he just took the goat and took the goat back to the next field, back door to the next back to the field. The goat was taken back to the field where accidentally it just came to the school Duke's historian area. Mr. Scroop wiped his face. You children are not so useless, he said. He wiped his face and said, you kids are not useless at all. Why the kids will be useless? It was Mr. Scroop's thought, but it's not like that. The kids are so nice and genuine and so truth. Because of them, he was able to get his gown back in a good condition. So, in short, Mr. Scroop was also happy meeting these children at its place. Now, phew, said Wilf. What a day! You did well, said Mr. Scroop. Now Wilf said, oh, what a day! He was also feeling good. Then you could see from the smiles of Mr. Scroop or Mr. Andrew that you did well, my children. He wants to say that. I like your school better. Now, Biff and Wilma and Wilf, all they has to say that they like the school better. Now the teacher and the children both are happy to meet each other in this Duke History Park. So let me know if you like this book or not, and if you have any questions, any queries, you can please let me know over and comment. Maybe I'll say and I'll get you back. I'll go through the comment and I will try to reply and respond you there and then. I'll come with the next time with the next new book. Until then, take care and keep reading, keep watching. Take care.